So, the theme is growth, and I am very tall. Moving on. I was delighted to be invited to a TED Talk because I've always felt a bit like a failure. I think a lot of us have imposter syndrome. A lot of us feel a bit about the world. It doesn't help that my degree is in geography, so shut up, it is a science. It's one of these sort of subjects, everything about me feels very geography, the only job I could get after university was, in data entry. And exactly, there aren't many jobs in advanced colouring in. So I've always felt a bit, and I feel, I go to places and I feel like, an imposter. I shop in Waitrose. I don't know why. I just love to sort of stare at the yummy mummies. I was in Waitrose, okay, and there's this woman in there, and she was proper. She was like an adult. She was probably younger than me, but she was an adult, She had children, and I didn't know what their names were. They were that well behaved. Right? She was wearing heels in the supermarket, was elegantly dressed, had this blue riding coat on, just like, and this amazing red bag, like proper, like you couldn't actually have this bag on you. It's just too much. You might look at it in a magazine and go, I love that bag, but you never actually do it. Particularly in Waitrose when you're buying onions. I mean, amazing woman. And there was another woman in there, and she was similar yummy mummy, but not as good, Wearing activewear, Lululemon, so all right. Her son was called Sebastian. But she saw this woman and immediately was just like as mesmerised, because I was just there standing there just going, whoa. And I don't know if you saw that. A fly just landed on me. You know that thing where Bernie Sanders was in that massive auditorium and birds came and landed on his lectern like that, and everybody went, wow, he's like Jesus, look, a bird landing. A fly landed on me. Never did I feel more like shit than right now. Little did you know that we've actually trained that fly to land on. It's been one of those days. So, what was I on about? Yeah, so this woman sees this other woman and she just runs to her, just going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I could just see this sort of like, these are alpha women. These are the women that I want to be like. I'm just stand there holding a carrot going, wow, right? And they come to each other, and this woman just goes, oh my God, I have to ask, where did you get that bag? And this woman just goes, oh, this. And this tells a story about how she knows a girl in Notting Hill who knows this woman who makes red bags, and she used to work for Graz magazine. And this amazing, elaborate tale about New York and fashion starts coming out of her mouth. And the other woman went, oh, no, for the onions. And I love mistakes like that. I love the little things in life. Like I do, as was mentioned in my introduction, I do a podcast for the British Museum called the British Museum Membercast. Now, I sat in a lot of meetings with guys with big woolly beards and women with a lot of pens. And the sorts I mean. And they're very serious. They take their work at the museum very seriously. And they're like, well, we're going to do a podcast specifically about members' lectures. And I really want to find a good name for it. And they all had this big group discussion. They said, Membercast. We should call it the Membercast. It's a bit like podcast. It's about the membership. Membercast. What could be wrong with that? And I sat there very quietly. I didn't say anything. And then finally, after they've done the artwork, I say, it sounds like a plaster cast penis. And it's great because it means, like doing this, I get to interview, because they get lecturers from all over the world at the British Museum, and I get to interview them and, splice them together and make little podcasts. And what's wonderful is, like, I interviewed somebody from this very town, a man who works at the university, a guy called Clive Gamble. I don't know if we've got any Clive Gamble fans in the house. No whoops, fair enough. But he blew my mind. He completely blew my mind because, I've always felt very insecure about the job I do. I don't think it's a particularly important one. I just chat, make people giggle. What could be the purpose of that? But he did a lot of research with a guy called Robin Dunbar. Do we know of Dunbar? Okay, one man at the back. Woo! Dunbar. Right. Dunbar. Both these men are amazing guys. So, they're already very sexy because what they do is they get a load of monkey skulls and they fill them with seeds. Right? Awesome time. If you're ever bored, get monkey skull, fill it with seeds, then tip those seeds into a little cylinder, you can actually measure the volume of a monkey's brain. Then Robin Dunbar decided what he would do is he'd chart all the monkey brains in terms of volume size, and then also run that against how big their social groups were, so how big the little groups and troops and tribes that they sort of hang out in were. And he found it directly correlates. So the bigger the monkey's brain is, the more friends they have. That's pretty cool. That's pretty sweet. That's quite a nice... I can see a few scientists in here. Well, correlation doesn't equal causation. Shut up, it does, right? Overcomplicating everything. Does, right? But what he did is he just carried on the line. So, we know that, the largest monkey groups are about 80 members, but if you actually carry on the line and work out how big a volume of human brain is, and our brains are massive, by the way, they're I think between 1,300 and 1,500 cubic centimetres, which is a lot of Lego, right? So that's pretty massive. So they were able to continue this line, work out how many friends that we're supposed to have, how many people are meant to be in your tribe. And the answer is 150. That's it. That's all your brain can manage. That is the whole reason you have this massive, very expensive brain. Brains are very expensive. In terms of, if you got yours out, right, and I don't recommend it, right, but if you got yours out and put it on a scale, it would weigh roughly 2% of your body weight, okay? It uses 20% of your calories, right? If you think a lot, you can eat more cake, all right? Because that's what it likes as well. It likes the expensive calories, right? It likes the fats. It likes, all these really dense carbs. It's very, protein. Oh, how much does it love protein? But it's a very expensive thing to have. And what Robin Dunbar and Clive Gamble are saying is the reason your brain is so big is simply because you have so many friends that you have to keep track of. And that is the reason we have this big brain. It isn't, for survival and everything else. No, we need this big brain. Now, the macaques and other small animals like that, what they do is they use their brain to, integrate their little friends and everything else. They do this by grooming. This is how you keep, everybody happy, is you just pick fleas off them, you groom them, and nom, 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 nom. Now, there's a very good method. Macaques in particular, spend 12% of their day just grooming. Just keeping track, doing that. Now, we could do that. We could spend our days doing that, but we'd use 45% of our day just grooming. Now, that would be awesomely sexy. However, it would be annoying. Right now, how long would it take me to groom you? Quite a while, and I would be arrested. But it's a long time to go around grooming. So we've developed other methods of grooming. Right, guys, I hate to say it, right now, I'm grooming you. Yeah, I'm using language. We've got this amazing ability. We've got this frontal cortex which allows us to create language. And it is much quicker. I can groom all of you at once. We all get the nice endorphin release. Boom, done, connected, right? And it's an immediate instant thing. I don't need to go around and pick fleas off you and ask you how your mother is, in terms of that sort of thing. I can do it directly to you right now, all at once, very efficient, very cool. And also what language does is it changes the way that I behave and we behave anyway. For example, when we do language, we don't just go, blah, we don't have it all as one sort of, language is a sequence of things, right? It's words following each other. They have to follow a logical context. And a lot more clever people than me have told people that, yeah, it follows a logical context, and therefore, right, you need to be able to have a logical context, a sequence of steps in order to do everything. To make tools, you need a logical step. If anybody's tried to do IKEA furniture without following the steps, knows, okay? You need to follow the logical steps. And as a result, our brains, which are primarily there so that we can communicate and groom, are actually there to advance technology as a sort of offset. That's not the reason we're doing it. We're doing it so we can chat to people. But actually, the offset of that is, TED. So, it's an amazing thing, right? And also, what this allows us to do is it allows us to do other things. It allows us to do things like fire. We learned how to make fire. We learned how to communicate that fire. But what is fire? What is it used for? People say, well, it's survival, isn't it? It's used for cooking. It's used for cooking and everything else. But we haven't got that much evidence of it being used for cooking, beyond tens of thousands of years ago. We've got evidence of fire being used hundreds of thousands of years ago. So what was it used for? It was used to extend the day. It was used so we had light at night. Why did we need light at night? We needed to chat. That's the entire reason we needed to chat. That is what is driving this brain. This brain needs conversation to happen in order for us to release endorphins to feel happy, right? We need to chat. Okay, what about agriculture and stuff like that? Agriculture, I think Steven Pinker says that agriculture is so we can outsmart plants, so we can actually grow plants to eat so we can survive. It's about survival. It's not about survival, no. First crops. Exactly. First crops. All the first crops that we can find were all drugs. Correct! Drugs. That is what we use them for, drugs. What do drugs do? Drugs relax you. Drugs make you open up. Drugs lower the level of inhibition, make it easier to chat. Okay? Exactly. This is what I'm saying to you. All of this, you're going to hear ideas tonight about how we're advancing towards the stars. No, the entire reason we are here tonight is we are driven to keep 150 people happy. Because 150 people isn't many. I mean, there are more than 150 people in here, in this room right now. I would never be able to cope. My brain it's too small. There isn't enough growth available in it to actually deal with all you guys. So I need to find my tribe. I need to work out who's thinking what. I have to have a theory of mind. I have to be able to imagine what you're thinking so you can imagine what I'm thinking so that we can be friends and I can find my people. And what is the best way of finding your people? Telling a joke. Seeing who laughs. Because laughter is a communication in and of itself. Like, for example, we tickle children, don't we? We tickle them, right? They don't find that funny. They laugh, though. And what does laughter do? What is laughter about in that situation? It is literally going, ha ha ha, I'm no threat! Please stop it! Please stop it, I'm no threat! Because the ha 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 thing, you're opening up, you're very relaxed, you're sort of going, I am not going to attack you with stuff, okay? That is what being a friend is. It's a load of people gathered together going, I'm not going to attack you! Also, it's very useful because this position here, if you're a baboon, you can actually look at the canines and see who the alpha males are and who you really want to mate with. But, just saying, there are other reasons too. But isn't that great? I mean, we know this. Societally, we know that laughter is really important. It's how we select who we think alike, who we know. Like, somebody doesn't get a joke in a group, you're like, they're a bit weird. I mean, I think the stereotypes from the Second World War in our culture are very, very particular of this. We have stereotypes about the Germans, how they're very organised and efficient, because that's just weird. But the main other one is the Germans can't take a joke. They don't have a sense of humour. They're not funny. How weird is that? It's survived to this day. It's not true. You can make German people laugh. I have done it in Germany. I've done this sort of stand-up comedy in Germany. It works. I know you don't believe me. It's just like completely, what? The Germans find jokes funny? But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you want to find your tribe, if you want to find the people, if you don't want to waste your time with people, find the people who think like you. What's the best way of doing that? Going to a comedy club, listening to somebody like me. Yeah. Guys, all I want to say is that you're going to listen to incredible people tonight. You're going to listen to amazing scientists and historians and researchers, all of whom are using this brain that has evolved over centuries just for this amazing purpose of intellectual endeavour. No, it's evolved so that you can tell each other puns. Thank you very much. I've been Iszi Lawrence. Here.